man, there are so many things that I tried, and there are so many things that I tried to like create and be successful in, or try to find a job in and be successful in that, and so many things failed as a result of me trying. And when I truly look at it, I could see that there were so many things that I was doing wrong. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Krupa and I create faith-based content here on YouTube, and I post every single week. But saying that, last week we were all struck with some kind of bug that's happening in Ghana, which, by the way, if you don't know, I am born and brought up in London, but moved to Ghana 2 years ago. So yeah, I don't know what's happening in Ghana currently. It might just be the monsoon season, but saying that, there is a serious bug at the minute, and thank God, onto the glory of God, we literally did not deal with it that bad. Like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. The worst that it hit any of us, it was definitely me. Okay, mama got it the worst, and it was just a temperature. But still, that being said, it felt like I was dealing with it the whole week, and then bam, the temperature came out of nowhere, and then it just was like gone, and we're like, oh, okay. So saying that, we are back, I am back, we are good, I am good. And so today's video, I am so excited about it, because if you know anything about me, you know a sister has tried to be relevant in every industry. Growing up, I didn't see much pressure around career, so to speak, but I saw pressure around being successful. And academia wasn't so pushed on us. I would say success was pushed on us, in the sense where our parents, being immigrants in the UK, I can't imagine how hard that was. Can you imagine going from a country with lack of system or no systems at that, to then moving to a country with systems, not knowing their language, finding out what on earth to do with your kids after having it's a lot. And so, because of the struggles that our parents would have seen, and I know so many of you will be able to relate with this, the pressure of being successful rather was so prominent. And so, although career wasn't so pushed on us, and I'm really grateful, because I don't think people would have noticed my skill sets in what I'm really good at, which is what my business is going to be about. And that I cannot wait to reveal to you guys. I'm so excited about that. And when I can finally reveal it to you, I'll be so over the moon and jumping off the edge of my seat, like to tell you guys. But currently I cannot say too much about it. But saying that, having gone through this journey of the business idea currently that I'm working on, and it being this far along in its journey of, like, you know, near launch, I was in my reflection state of mind, and I was just like, man, there are so many things that I tried, and there are so many things that I tried to like create and be successful in, or try to find a job in and be successful in that, and so many things failed as a result of me trying. And when I truly look at it, I could see that there were so many things that I was doing wrong. And so I'm so excited to speak about this particular thing. And today's topic is all about living in God's purpose for your life, and some of the things that I've learned. And although my business hasn't yet launched in the sense of like the eyes of the world, in my eyes, it's completely launched, because I've never gotten this far with any business idea. And one of the ways that I knew that this is definitely a God idea and not a me idea is that all my ideas before that, because we are natural creators, we are created by a creator, we have been given the likeness of God in his creative character. Do you know what I mean? Like, we are naturally creatives. And so we all have like tons of ideas. It's what we entertain and what we think, let me just shelf that for a minute, or let me just put that aside for a minute and see whether this is something that is a tugging idea, right? So I say that to say, like, I had so many ideas, just like every single one of us. And some of them I tried to execute, and some of them I didn't even bother, because I'm like, what on earth is that even? And those that I did bother to actually, see and execute and move forward with, it just didn't happen. It really didn't happen the way I thought it would. Whether it was down to just me being like lack of belief systems in myself, or whether it was genuinely a good idea, but I didn't put, just whatever it was, it did not happen. And upon reflection over all those ideas, I bring to you this video. So the base scripture is found in 1 Kings 3:7-15, and it's basically the dream that Solomon has, the infamous dream that Solomon has. And in this dream, God visits him and he says, what do you pray for? Like, what is it that you want, Solomon? And instead of him asking for all of these things, he actually asks God for wisdom to know right from wrong and to lead God's people well. And God is so pleased with this. And he says in verse 12, he says, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never be anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not even asked for, both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you walk in obedience to me and keep my decrees and commands as David your father did, I will give you a long life. Then Solomon awoke and he realized it had been a dream. King Solomon had a huge purpose in his dream. He asked God for wisdom, not knowing that wisdom is going to be a whole book in the Bible, like crazy. And I just think that is so key in itself, that purpose is always attached to people. Like God, I've hardly seen God move in a way that is just like for a primary reason. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, I hardly see God move in a way that is just for the singular person. I feel like God moves in cases where there's mass attached to it. Not that God can't do it for the individual, not that God won't do it for the individual, for the actual individual alone. But I just feel like with everything that God does, it's always multifaceted in terms of its purpose and impact. With that being said, let's go into our first point. So, number one is, it's almost always about impact versus income. I remember I was exploring photography, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just in my head. I got in my head a little bit because I photographed two weddings, and it was a gift from me to them. And I remembered in both those occasions, they preferred my photos over their hired photographer's photos. And that was like a huge, boost to my ego. And I was like, oh, this feels good. And so then I got recommended by somebody, which I can't even remember who, but I got recommended somebody who was having a destination wedding, and she wanted me to come to her wedding to photograph her wedding. And I self-sabotaged, and I quoted a big up price, like a huge price. And the thing is, I'm not saying that you can't charge what your value is, but what I am saying is sometimes think of impact more than you think of income, because income naturally follows. Where your value increases, your income follows. Like, people are never gonna be like going to a 10 million house in Las Vegas, I don't know, and then saying, oh yeah, I'll pay yeah, I'll pay like $10,000 for this, no problem. Like, you won't even have the cheek to do that, because you just know by looking at this house that it is valued at a certain mark because of its value. And you're not going to question the price tag once you see the value of the house, right? Does that make sense? So that is just one example of how I've sabotaged myself and my ideas and my creations in the past, because I was so consumed by this idea of like, I have to make this work in terms of income. But now, sitting on this side of things, I can just so confidently tell you that income will just follow when you're so concentrated on impact. And we can very clearly see that from King Solomon's dream and what he prayed for. He prayed for impact, and God gave him income as well as impact. So, number 2, guys. Number 2, if you're anything like me, you need to hear this and you need to hear it again and then again and then again and then again, because sis, I am self-sufficient to the core. And I've had to learn over the years that I need to let that go. Let it go. Google can't give you everything, okay? And I say that as a joke, but for real, I'm so self-sufficient to the core, and God has to constantly break this down in me. So that being said, the second point is this, that God will always be your divine wisdom that you're looking for. This is key with Solomon's prayer. Solomon asked God for wisdom because he recognizes that his wisdom is limited. And so this is something that I have seen in my journey of creating things, of trying to establish ideas, and it not flourishing, or it just falling through the creaks and cracks. And so I'm like, what? Hold on, what was happening? What was the big mistakes that I was making? And this is definitely one of them, that I was looking at myself as enough wisdom, because I could strategize and I could plan, and okay, I need to make a website. Well, I know how to do that. Just go on Wix. Or okay, I need to make this flyer. Okay, I know how to do that. Just go on Fiverr. Rather than stopping and saying, God, I need you to go before all the details of this business. Actually, it's not mine, it's yours. You have given me people that are on the other side of this job or this business, whatever it is, insert whatever it is that you're about to do. But you have given me this desire to do X. And at the other side of X are people that are relying on my obedience. And what that looks like is, God, I am not about to take on any responsibility with my limited wisdom. And so I need divine wisdom to carry this out. That is essentially what Solomon was praying. God is like, actually, you're thinking too like 2D. I need you to think 4D. Like, everything is kingdom purposed. Everything has a heavenly alignment, and you being like, you thinking in 2D isn't really serving that eternal purpose. I need you to have an eternal purpose in your mind. And once you grasp that everything has an eternal purpose, and that when God has designed a plan for you, it's always going to be kingdom minded, kingdom purposed, then you'll naturally just learn to detach yourself away, or disconnect yourself from the actual purpose, and instead place God in that position. The last point is my favorite, and I always say this, is that knowledge is power is a lie. Wisdom is power. Because knowledge is just knowledge. You know that the washing machine washes clothes. That's great. But if you don't know how to apply that knowledge, you ain't going to be washing any clothes in that machine. Do you see what I mean? So knowledge is power is a lie. It's not powerful to know something. It's powerful to know how to apply it. Saying that, we see from the life of Solomon that this is very much a thing. Like, in the sense where he's saying, don't just give me knowledge, because great, I have knowledge of what good and evil is, but give me wisdom in how to apply that. And it follows with an amazing story of two mums. One of them stole the other's child. And he had the wisdom to say, look, stop arguing, you two, okay? Stop arguing. What we'll do is we'll just cut this son in half. You take one half and you take the other. And then the real mum was like, oh, no, just let her have it. Like, it's cool. And the other mum that wasn't actually his biological mum, the one that stole the son, said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's cut the son in half. And then Solomon realized who's the real mum and who's not. In that case, knowledge wouldn't have been enough. Wisdom was the thing that held the power. With that being said, it's always key to ask God for the implementation of the knowledge. Implementation is so key when it comes to any idea, whether it's a job, whether it's a business. And how you best do that and how you best serve your idea is by asking God for wisdom. So don't forget that wisdom is power and not knowledge alone. And the scripture I have for us here, because it is a big concept, this one, I find it so hard to actually explain this point. And so the scripture I have here is found in John 8:32, and it says, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. And yes, I know this is talking about Jesus, but this whole knowledge and wisdom still applies with this scripture, because it says, and you will know the truth. Like, yes, Jesus is the truth, but there is impact. There is impact in implementation. So once you accept the truth that you know is the truth will set you free. And so I don't know, when I was thinking about this point, I was like, oh, this scripture is definitely the one. Like, and you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. Like, you will know, like, knowledge, you will know the truth. And when you accept the truth will set you free. It's not simply by just knowing Jesus, like, yeah, Jesus existed and now I'm free. No. Once you accept the truth, once you do something with that knowledge, once you learn to implement what that knowledge is telling you to implement, then you will see the impact of that wisdom applied. Does that make sense? I hope I'm explaining that well. If I'm not, just comment down below and I'll try and explain it via text. But with that being said, we are at the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Check out some more of this styled video.